Tom, how did the Bears lose at home?
It's just like we're here every Sunday doing the same dance.
As much as John Fox is on repeat, I feel like we are too. But this one is pretty painful to look at, almost as painful as it was to watch.
Yeah, let's just highlight a few things. The San Francisco 49ers are 1-10. Now they're 2-10. They came to town and defensively rank in the bottom 5 in most statistical categories. They're giving up 375 yards and about 26 points per game. And yet all our offense could do was muster one single touchdown, and that was courtesy of the Kyle Fuller pick, so you had a short field to do that in. So offensively, they got nothing accomplished today against a defense that was just begging for them to run it and throw it on them. Defensively, look, we hate to sit here and talk about injuries, but they're banged up, and they don't have the depth that they can throw out onto that field and not miss a beat. So defensively, they held the San Francisco 49ers to 5 field goals. You're supposed to win those games, right?
Yes.
I will say this kid here, Jimmy G, and I have very high hopes for Mitchell Trubisky as well. You basically heard me drooling about how I felt he would be as a professional.
Yeah.
I think we saw some of that today. Now, again, they only scored 15 points. They didn't get into the end zone. But you saw a young man who, despite only his 3rd career starts, has the poise and has the it factor as a quarterback. Mitchell's still getting there. And granted, Mitchell has not had an easy route because of a lot of the things we've talked about week in and week out. The lack of protection consistently up front, the lack of weapons out on the edge. He'll get there. But this kid in San Francisco, I think, has a chance to be pretty special.
Well, the question then is, are we making excuses for him just because he's a rookie?
Well, no. I mean, you've heard me and seen me be critical of him over the last several weeks. I think you have to find a balance here. Mm-hmm. He was the 2nd overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
He should be better with the fundamentals and the footwork and the feel and the pocket and the presence and all of that stuff. I'm a little disappointed that he's not further along, but I'm also I'm disappointed that they haven't given him any help. I feel sorry for the guy at times. You put on the film, I watched the All-22 from last week's loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's no help for this kid.
No.
Now, he's making some mistakes, and he has to own those mistakes, but there's no separation for his wide receivers. There's no pocket security there because there's a lot of penetration coming from the other side of the football. He's in a really difficult position. And factor in as well, he only had 13 collegiate starts. So he walks into an environment with very little collegiate experience and finds himself on a team and an offense, and he's trying to learn everything new from day one, going back to training camp and the mini camps, and he doesn't have a lot of help around him. It is a really tall task for this kid. But he also has to own some of his mistakes. Mm-hmm. I don't think there were a ton of Mitchell Trubisky mistakes today. I think collectively their offense couldn't stay on the field. They couldn't get a first down. And that wasn't all because of Mitchell. That was a collective effort of bad.
Yes. 140 and change yards in a game is unacceptable.
Against a defense that was giving up 375 and 26
Thank you.
points.
This is not the Philadelphia Eagles.
This
is one of the worst teams in the NFC, but arguably maybe worse on the side of the Bears. Robbie Gould.
Depressing.
It is depressing. Robbie Gould adding to the depression today.
Yeah, I mean, I feel great for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great career here in Chicago. They made a decision to go. We've said this about a lot of different players. And if you're going to move away from Robbie at that time, whether it was because of the salary he was making or you wanted to bring in, whatever the case may be, your answer, your replacement has to be good.
Yeah.
Same thing when you decide that Alshon Jeffrey is no longer part of your plan. I get it. The Eagles were the only team that really wanted to give Alshon a decent contract. It was a 1-year, $9 million deal guaranteed with incentives. Now, congratulations to Alshon that he has signed a big 4-year extension, and he deserves it. But the point is the market said 1 year, $9 million guaranteed. The point I'm making is it's fine if you move on, but you have to have an answer in terms of a replacement. For all of these guys. If you move on from any of these guys, you have to have an answer. You have to have somebody that can slide in and do the job at least close to how well that guy was doing it. And I think that's the case with Robbie. I mean, we've been looking for a consistent kicker from the moment they decided that Robbie wasn't in their plans. So I feel great for him. He got a second chance, and he's run with it. And for him today, I don't know if you want to call it vindication, but for him to come home and have the day he had in front of a group of fans that really appreciated what he did for so many years here. Tip of the cap to Robbie Gould.
Yeah, absolutely. He said this was special for him. You can't deny that for sure.
Last thing I will say this to echo Tom Thayer's thoughts on the radio call. The last thing you want, and take the guy out of the equation. I mean, as we all love Robbie and what he's stood for and what he's accomplished, but the last thing you want to see is a kicker staring down your offensive line, giving you the business as time's running off the clock. And no disrespect meant to kickers, but yeah, that was hard to watch.
Hard to watch, and it is a reflection of exactly where this Bears franchise is right now. So if you're the McCaskies, do you make a change? 4 games left. Where do you call the accountability right now?
Well, I mean, look, I think this is a systemic problem. Obviously the coaches that are putting a game plan in and on a day in and day out basis, their hands are tied a bit because of the talent they have and the injuries they've had. But you can make a good case that they haven't gotten the most out of the guys that are out there. So the coaching issue is the coaching issue. When you're 12-32, I think is what their record is now in almost 3 seasons, that sticks to everybody. I still believe their singular biggest issue is their roster that doesn't stack up with others. I think that we can look at it and we can see some progress, and hopefully Mitchell will fix a lot of those issues going forward. But so you've got a talent problem, in my opinion. You have an issue with whether or not this coaching staff has anything left more than 4 games, which my guess is no.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to do a deep dive. I think they're going to have to look inside and really make some difficult decisions. My guess is Ryan Pace has got as much job security up at Hallis Hall as anybody, and they'll give him a few more years to try to put this team together. But I guess to circle back to your question, I don't think that they will make a coaching change between now and the end of the season. But again, obviously that's the way it's trending, and my guess is that Ryan Pace will take the opportunity to find someone that he feels, from an offensive standpoint, will mesh very well with his young quarterback.
And do the Bears win 4 games this season? Win a 4th?
I picked them to win 7. And I thought 6 was going to be just kind of a layup, because if you stay moderately healthy in this league, you should be able to win 6 games.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and guarantee you anything. And you look, they play my hometown Bengals next week. They still have the Browns on their schedule.
I know. My Browns.
Get back to me later, will you? Get back to me. Let me look at some film this week and see if I can find a way that the Bears can pull off a miracle between now and the end of the season.
Was there anything good today?
No, I don't. The weather was great.
The weather was
great.
Right.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Look, this is a very disheartening loss. I mean, look, they weren't going to the postseason. I get it. But when you only have the ball for 21 minutes, then we're not really giving Mitchell an opportunity to develop some. I didn't see Adam Shaheen on the field. I thought they were too predictable in the times they were out there a little bit. Defensively, Vic Fangio and John Fox, they got they're handcuffed a bit because of all the injuries on defense. And they did hold the 49ers to just 15 points. That's just a game you've got to win.
It caps a very bizarre week for our Bears. A fight at Hallis Hall on Monday. Guys were released, different roster moves that they made. John Fox even said today it's hard to talk to his team after this. Has he lost this group?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we can have the conversation about whether or not they've done a good enough job offensively to try to move Mitchell along some. But I don't think so. I mean, a team that you lose, it's hard to argue that they haven't lost them a little bit when you do have the argument up at Hallis Hall. Yeah. But no, I wouldn't go there. You lose your team when your offensive coordinator is calling out the quarterback to a member of the media and then has to step in front of his team and say, listen, guys, that was me, my bad. Right. And then guys aren't listening to the coach when the team meetings are going on. We saw a team go sideways in that manner in the second year of Mark Trestman's era. I don't think it's there, but I'm not there every day.
Right.
So I don't know. The guys that cover that team and you on a daily basis, you would know that better than I. It doesn't feel that way, but 3-9 feels horrible.
It feels horrible. Second straight year of 3-9. And you know what's worse, Tom? Next week's going to be freezing outside. I mean, at least today the weather made things somewhat
It's warm in here. In fact, you know what? I feel myself getting sweaty just thinking about having to talk about this team.
I know. And yet
I've run out of things to say. I'm not going to lie to you.
Which is scary because you get paid to talk even more than I do.
Yes, 4 hours a day.
Great. I know. Sometimes more.
Yeah. I think tomorrow I'll have the anger and the frustration will be kind of willing and I'll be willing and able to get it out a little bit more. But this is hard to watch. It really is.
Is this just the beginning of a rebuild? I mean, really, for the fans who are out there frustrated as you are?
Well, it's taking longer than you had anticipated and hoped, but these are moments that you have to work through in a rebuild. You have you have a rookie quarterback who just made his 8th start. He had 13 collegiate starts. You're in the process of revamping your roster, both from a top-line talent standpoint and a depth standpoint. This is a rebuild. I wish it would happen a little quicker, but they're definitely rebuilding.
Bah humbug. I am not letting them ruin the holidays.
Yeah, I wouldn't pin my holiday hopes on anything that they're doing up at Hallis Hall.
Faith is gone.
Yeah.
But not in Utah.
No,
Thank
no.
you.